everybody. We've been talking about perspective. We did exterior perspective so far in 1 point and in 2 points, and we did interior perspective in 1 point, but we haven't done 2 point yet. So I want to show you what a quick interior perspective in 2 point perspective would look like and how we go about doing that. So as you can see, I have my basic setup, a horizon line and 2 vanishing points. I will note that for interior perspective, it will be far better if we move those vanish points off the page, but they're on the page so that you can see them. So the lines in the room are going to be a little bit drastic. All right, so like exterior perspective and 2 point perspective, we're going to start with a vertical line. Essentially what we're doing here, I'm going to go to the line tool, and because I want to portray myself sitting in the room, I want the horizon line to be a little bit lower than the center of the room, kind of tall ceilings. We're going to choose a vertical line that will represent the corner of the room that we're looking at. So we're not facing a wall anymore, we're facing a corner. So I'm going to drop that in, let's say here. And if we're doing this like an external like we did the last time, we would start at the top of the line and we would draw it to each of the vanishing points, right? And then we would cut down the sides. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to start at the vanishing point and actually go the opposite way. You'll see in a minute that you don't really need this whole line, but I'm going to go past that edge of the wall. I want to make sure it touches the very top and go all the way off my page. And I'm going to click like that. And I'm going to start at this vanishing point now and do the exact opposite. Clicking off my page like that. All right, so now what we're seeing is this here on my right is going to be one wall. This is the bottom of the wall. It's going to have a floor. We're going to see a little bit of the floor down here. And this up here, this triangle shape that you see up here is the ceiling. And you'll see that in a minute. So now I want to do the same thing with the base of the wall. I'm going to start on this side. It doesn't matter which side you start. Draw a line straight to off the paper. And again, starting over here, draw another line through the bottom of the wall that exits straight off the paper. So now, aside from the construction lines that we've created for going to the vanishing point, we basically have the floor, ceiling, and 2 walls laid out. So let me get rid of those extra pieces of the line. When we did exterior perspective, 2 point perspective, we just basically kind of erased the lines, and we could do that again, but I want to show you another method that's probably a little better. So right now we're on, this was the last line we drew. I'm going to make this a little bigger so we can see where the end is. Just want to take this point where we started from the vanishing point, and I just want to draw it back to the bottom of the wall. And you'll see that's going to go away. I'm going to go down, this was the line before it, and I'm going to do the same thing from the vanishing point here, walk it back to the wall. You want to be right on that corner. Now I'm going to move down a layer, and going to take this one, starting at the vanishing point, walk it back to the top of the wall. It's a lot neater than using the eraser tools, and it's a little more effective. And this one again from the vanishing point, walk it back to the wall. And I'm going to make the horizon and vanishing point invisible right now, so you can basically see this is what the construction of the wall looks like. We have the ceiling up here, the floor down here, this is the corner we're looking at, this is one wall over here, and this is another wall over here. Let's put a couple of decorative pieces in to make it look a little bit more like a room, right? Alright, so let's put a window on this wall. So to do a window on this wall, I'm not going to use this vanishing point, I'm going to use the opposite one. Let's redo that same room that we did. So I got it back to the wall there, and I'm going to drop a vertical line holding shift, and I'm going to bring this out. I can go right to the end, I don't need the extra over there. So this is where the window is. If you remember correctly, it's kind of sunken in, probably about almost a good foot. So I'm going to take this line here and I'm going to extend that in, or I can come from here and go right to there. I'm going to trim the lines back again. So now what I can see is another line coming from the vanishing point here where the ceiling sinks in to the windowsill. And then right from this corner where these two lines cross, I'm going to drop another vertical and right down to the line. Okay, so now I've got the inside of the window. I just got to get rid of those excess lines. So again, coming back to the vanishing point, I'm going to shrink this one to that corner there. And then coming back to here, I'm going to shrink this back to that corner. And notice, unlike yesterday, I didn't have to rasterize all my shapes. I haven't put them on one layer yet, right? So I'm going to hit enter. All right, so we have the basic cutout of the window. I still have that decorative element of the window. There's a window shade. I'm not going to worry about the curtain, but the window shade comes about halfway down. So to show where that window shade would be, I'm going to click on here, bring the window shade to about halfway down. It doesn't go all the way out to the other edge. It would start somewhere close to the edge of the window here. So I'm going to click and drag down, and then I can go back to the layer below it and eliminate this part. So that's the window shade. Now the crossbars, I'm seeing 6 boxes, 3 across, 2 down below that line. So I'm going to divide this into 2 parts. But that's where the window bars are. They're not really bars, they're the decorative cross pieces. And the line, those were verticals, those were completely verticals. The line again has to come from the vanishing point. So I'm going to draw that in right out to the edge of the wall there. And part of it's covered by that window shade. And I'm going to walk that back to the edge of the window. Make sure we're right on, otherwise we lose that perspective piece. Alright, so we have the sunken in window in the corner over there. I'm going to find the layers. Notice if I click on the different layers, while they're still vectors, they'll highlight what I have here. Now, this line I still have to figure out where it is. Let's go to the Move tool and click on the line. Now I know it's on the one that says line 8, so it's switched to that. Now I can come back to the line tool and I can adjust it. So I don't need any of this. If snapping is causing a problem like it is there, I'm going to go Command Z. I'm going to turn off snapping. Snapping makes it jump to the grids or guides that are in that area. So you can go turn off snapping by go View, Snap, and turn it off. It's very useful sometimes, but other times it could be a hindrance. So now I could go exactly to the spot I want and not have a problem. All right, so I've got that in. Again, I can turn off the horizon and vanishing points, and we can see what that all looks like. So I've got the window in now. Maybe I'd want to paint the window shade a color. We'd have to flatten all that first. So let's put the door in. That was in the other picture. So I'm going to go back, turn that back on. So now the doorway. So we do the doorway. Anything on this wall is going to come to this opposite vanishing point. So the doorway is a little close toward the ceiling, but not quite that high. I'm going to have a vertical line. Holding Shift, get a perfectly vertical line there. It's a little awkward because there's almost a tangent there. It's a little space. Probably could have picked a little better spot. There's a bit of distance between the door and the window. So my other vertical, I'm going to drop here again, holding Shift, go right to the base of the line. And I have the basic doorway. I'm going to walk back that extra line, which should be here, I think, yeah. I'm going to walk that back to the top of the doorway right there and just hit enter. And I've got the doorway where it needs to be. Let me again turn off the horizon line so you can see. We could put in a door handle. To the side of the doorway there's a picture on the wall, so I want to show you how to do that. We didn't do anything on the walls, any wall hangings or anything. But let's put in a picture frame. Alright, so I'm going to, working from that opposite again, I'm going to drag this out. It's going to be the top of my frame. The frame is pretty close to the door and it's lower than the top. I'm going to hit Shift and bring it down. I'm going to go from here through there for the bottom of the picture frame. These are all bigger and longer than I need them to be, but I'm going to walk them back. And I'm going to click here for my other vertical, hit Shift and drag that down. And I'm going to try and get the picture sort of in the proportion that it is. It's a little taller than square, but it's not super long or anything. All right, so now I can go back to those different lines I created and walk those back to where they need to be. So I'm going to walk this right to the bottom of the frame, and I'm going to walk this end right to the bottom of the picture frame. I'm going to go to the next line, which is line 19, and we can walk that back. I didn't do a door frame, but I'm going to do the picture frame because it'll be exactly the same technique. I have the picture where I want it to be, so it's kind of a thin picture frame and it's kind of flat. So I'm going to just draw some guidelines for myself and click here again and do one at the bottom. And again, I'm going to walk these back and fix them. And I'm going to click up here, the thickness of the frame, and hit shift and drag down to get a complete vertical line. Your vertical lines always have to be very nice and vertical. And I'm going to do the same here. Click shift and drag it down. So now I'm going to walk these back. So this is on line 24, switch back to the line tool, and I can grab that end and drag it right to the corner, drag this one to the corner. The idea is these, what would be the horizontal lines if we were looking straight at it, we want those to be completely pointing at the vanishing point. So we want to make sure we've got it lined up really correctly. I've got the basic picture frame now. If I want to, I can make those thin lines going to the corners. I'm not changing the thickness of my line right now, otherwise you won't be able to see it. And doing the door frame would be pretty much the same thing. This is all done more or less with the line tool. And I got a room with a door, a picture, a little sunken window in the upper corner. If I wanted to, I could start adding furniture and so on and so forth. But that's the basic idea. I'm going to hide the horizon line and vanishing points because you wouldn't see them in this picture at all. And you can see we're inside a room now looking toward the corner instead of looking directly at the wall, which was one point perspective. So it kind of changes up the way things look. So your assignment for today is to draw an interior perspective of the walls and ceiling and floor of the room you're in. If there's a window or a door, you can add it. If you want to add pictures on the wall, don't worry about furniture sticking out. That's a little trickier, and as you get practice and get used to creating your perspective drawings, that will come. I'm going to call this one done for now. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in class tomorrow.